What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I've got really good news that might be making me really sad, and I would like to talk about it. You see, there is a crossover going on between One Piece and the LA Dodgers on July the 3rd at Dodger Stadium. Now, this is something we've talked about a bunch lately, because there has been a bunch of One Piece sport crossovers. And I told you in a video pretty recently that I believe there would be more sports crossovers. Now, that wasn't exactly a particularly bold prediction, given that there's been a bunch of sport crossovers recently. But I also told you that I thought there was going to be more official promo cards coming with these, which was a bit more of a bold prediction, because of course, you know, like the LA Lakers crossover, for instance, didn't actually have a promo card associated with it. The Mariners had a Learn to Play event, but they didn't have a crossover with it. Well, I've got bad news for the Seattle Mariners, because they're an MLB team that had a bit of a crossover and they had a t-shirt, but they didn't get a promo card. Well, yeah, Dodgers are getting a promo card. Dodgers are getting a promo card, and you know what's better or worse depending on whether you're actually able to get this card or not? Original owner artwork. Also, shout out for the fact that you've got, you know, the hat's kind of flying off as Luffy's pitching, but you've got the LA Dodgers cap on top of the straw hat. I think that is absolutely wonderful. I think that little detail is awesome. We would expect nothing less from Oda, of course, but still, that is phenomenal. But there is a promo card. Now, this is a part of the video, and you know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to have to say this. If there is anyone in the LA area, or anywhere in fact, that can get a copy of this card and trade it with me, I still have, I believe, one spare Borussia Dortmund Luffy card I could trade for it. Might even be able to throw in the official Borussia Dortmund scarf. And there aren't that many of them floating around. So if you can get one of these and you're interested in a trade, please hit me up on Twitter at @TheWassy. I want this card pretty desperately. This one is awesome. Now, we will talk more about the Borussia Dortmund card in a minute because a comparison needs to be made. But I just want to take a second here and just marvel at this card. Everything about this card has just been knocked out of the park. If we have a look at the artwork here, we've got the LA in the top left-hand corner. We've got the whole baseball thing going on over pretty much like 2/3 or at least half the card. We've got Luffy pitching, but, you know, with the wiggly arm because Luffy is a rubber man. You've got the LA Dodgers cap, but it's been incorporated without doing anything to hurt the straw hat. Just everything about this card screams attention to detail, and not just for One Piece, but also for LA Dodgers, which, yowza, have they done a phenomenal job. But they've also done a phenomenal job because, have you all noticed which Luffy it is? Because I have noticed which Luffy it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the EBO2 Luffy. And the EBO2 Luffy, like right now in the West. Now, to be fair, we know that OP11 is coming really soon, like the end of this week. But right now in the West, EBO2 Luffy is the best deck in the game. And it's honestly not even particularly close. Here's the thing, though. And I've said this in many a video. You can go back and check the receipts. I'm not making this up now. I don't really like the alternate art of EBO2 Luffy. Regular art's fine. I don't like the alternate art. It's not my favourite kind of style. So, I want this artwork. This is one of the coolest leaders they've done. The artwork is stunning. The attention to detail in terms of the team is stunning. And then obviously they've got green-purple Luffy. Now, I will say that colour-wise, this is not quite as perfect as, say, the Borussia Dortmund Luffy, which is a black-yellow Luffy for a team that play in, like, black and yellow. That was perfect. This isn't really Dodgers colours quite like that. Although, having said that, they've incorporated the colours beautifully into the card. Now, I will admit, I'm not a huge Dodgers fan. Like, Borussia Dortmund, I've been to a couple of games. I've really enjoyed sitting in the stadium and watching a couple of those games live. Dodgers, I haven't. What I have done is gone and have a good look at Dodge's uniform colours, and as far as I'm aware, they're not really green and purple. It's not really Dodge's colours. However, if you look at the card, they've done just such a wonderful job of it. And look, like I say, this is the best deck in the format right now. Hands down, no question, best deck in the format. And frankly, it's not even really close. Like, we know this has been a fairly short meta between EBO2 coming out and being replaced with OP11, but look at, the stats over on LimitlessTCG.com, for example. Green Purple Luffy is 45% of the meta. Next highest is Black Rob Lucci at 13.5%. Then we've got Blackbeard at 9.5%, Nami at 5%, Reiju at 4%, and Enel at just under 4%. Like, this is one of the most dominant performances we've seen from any deck in any meta, and I'm not just talking about One Piece here. 45% of the meta for any deck is absolutely absurd. This is by far the best deck. But in the same way that Borussia Dortmund Luffy was released pretty much as Black Yellow Luffy was waning in power, so is the case here. Because I'm fairly sure this is not going to be the same thing here. We're not going to see this Luffy being great for months on end. This Luffy right now, and since EBO2 came out, by far the best deck in the format. No ifs, buts, or maybes. And there's no real counter-argument, just to be clear. There isn't really a counter-argument here. But in this meta, in the OP11 meta, now, I want to be perfectly clear, EBO2 Luffy is still a very good, very viable deck in the OP11 meta. Cannot stress that enough. But so is the OP11 Luffy, and actually so is the OP05 Luffy. You'll notice they've all got something in common. They're all purple Straw Hat decks. So, I think probably the OP11 Luffy is a bit better in the meta. Certainly that's what we saw at least early on in the meta in Japan. But make no mistake about it, this is the best deck in the EBO2 meta, and it survives into the OP11 meta. Not as dominant as it was before, I'm not pretending it is, but it does survive into that meta. This is one of the coolest cards we have ever seen in the One Piece TCG. I am delighted about this, but I cannot casually go to a Dodgers game on the 3rd of July. I wish that I could. And you better believe I've got a couple of mates in LA who I'm going to be messaging, asking if I can find a reasonably priced ticket. Can I just buy them a ticket and they go to the game and pick me up the card? And if they want to stay, they can. If not, as long as you got the card, you cool. But here's the thing. I don't think this is the last time that we've seen this happen. We saw there a couple of months ago, back in March, we had the Borussia Dortmund game. Now, it was actually more than a game, to be fair. So there was a game where you could pick up a goodie bag, which was the card with sticker and a scarf. Scarves are a big thing in European football, by the way. So a scarf is a very appropriate thing to give out at a European football match, because the majority of fans will take a team scarf to games. So this is the kind of thing you should expect. But then they also had learn to play events just at the stadium, just in the fan shop, where they also had those playmats, and they did send me one of those playmats, and I cannot stress enough again quite how much I love that playmat. One of the coolest things in my TCG collection, and you guys can probably guess, that's a pretty extensive collection at this point, covering many games. That was a cool promotion. But like I say, we had the Lakers crossover, which had a t-shirt, but it didn't have a promo card. We had the Mariners crossover, which had a t-shirt, but it didn't have a promo card. Well, now we've got the second promo card, and I don't know for certain, I could be wrong, but it does feel like they weren't really thinking about promo cards as a priority. Then we had the Borussia Dortmund one where they gave it a go, and they realized how much the fans really want promos, and it does feel like they're making an effort. And this is Bandai through and through over the past couple of years. When they realize it's something that the fans are into, they have done a remarkable job of trying to cater to the needs of fans. And I'm telling you, this really seems like the first crossover since they realized how cool these promo cards were for fans that they had time to make one. And I cannot tell you one way or the other. I do not work for Bandai, but it does feel a lot like this might happen again in the future, and I am here for it. They're going to be an absolute pain to collect, but it really does feel like we might be getting more of these now. And this, to me, we had Borussia Dortmund in March. Like I said, this feels like the first time since then they've had a crossover where they had time to get a promo card together. I wouldn't be surprised, like I say, I've told you many times, Lakers Robin. We have a Robin in Lakers colours that people literally refer to as Lakers Robin, and I think we're going to get a Lakers Robin promo. Can I prove it? No! Obviously I can't prove it. I think it's coming. I think we are going to be getting an LA Lakers Robin promo card in the future, and I am very, very, very excited about this. I want it to happen, and I'm very excited about the prospect of it happening. For now, we got a Dodgers Luffy, and I love this. And hey, when I made the video about the Borussia Dortmund Luffy, someone from the team saw it and sent me a promo card. So if there's anyone from the Dodgers watching, which I'm sure there isn't, but just on the off chance, you guys know how to get in touch with me. For now, I want to know what you think about this promo. I want to know what you think about these sports promos. Do you think they're as cool as I do? Is anyone out there kind of annoyed that they're just really difficult to get a hold of? Let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.